Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Millie and I love indie makeup, especially shiny, shifty, and sparkly eyeshadows. And that's why we are here today with the new McGrath Huetopian palette. Let me just pop up some like sneak peek photos that McGrath was posting. It was mostly inspo. It looks like it's created by some like CGI artists and etc. And we've got lots of rainbows and like very like chromatic like multi-chrome. I actually thought that she might be releasing liquid multi-chromes when I first saw some of these videos and photos, so I definitely was like, oh my god, we're gonna get like maybe like a pop of color in this palette, maybe like a pop of like a lighter pastel blue or a green, but no, instead we got another pink themed palette. Now I understand this sells really well for her, and somebody actually messaged me on Instagram and said rich people don't want to buy colorful eyeshadow, and it's so true. And this is a very pricey palette, and her brand aesthetic, even though very editorial, definitely tends to lean on the like ethereal, still kind of natural but artistic, versus the like bright and colorful editorial avant-garde type of makeup looks. And if you have been to my channel, you know I love my colorful eyeshadow, but I also love my multi-chromes. And the reason I bought this palette is because I wanted to see if I can dupe out some of these special shades, because I do think that out of all the like higher end brands, McGrath does tend to have the formulation and colors that are a little bit, you know, out of the ordinary. They have a little bit more sparkle, they have some shifts to them, they're, you know, duochromes, and that is more on par with some indie brands. So of course, please take my thoughts on this palette with a grain of salt, because you know that I did not buy it because I love the color stories. So if you're here for the color story, then you might be disappointed, because I'm not a fan of this color story. While you might look at this palette straight on and be like, this is another peachy pink palette, there's a little bit of like fun happening up here in this corner, minus the gold. I really just wish that McGrath could go without a gold and this champagne shimmer down here. So first I'm going to do some swatches. I'm also going to do some comparisons to the Divine Rose 2 palette, which I do have. I do have a video up duping this palette as well. I found a basically dead-on dupe to this special multi-chrome shade. I would like to mention though, the astral shades here, I actually feel like they're pretty unique in terms of texture, because when I was swatching through my collection, and you'll see that in the dupe comparisons, none of my shades that I have from like Divina and Clionadh and Terra Moons quite have the same texture of these. These are very light and they're almost like really sparkly, but like not like chunky and flaky, and they're very sheer. And the closest texture to this I would say would be either Glam Shop Turbo eyeshadows or the Bernovich really shiny sparkly eyeshadows. I think those are actually the closest, even in just like the way that they feel. But of course these are like a baked formula in this pan. And then the other product that actually was included in this launch is the Intensifeyes Artistry wand, and I'm going to be trying it out. I was actually very confused once I received this, because I didn't see any close-up shots of it or no like exact like swatches of it or just usage of it, besides like the far away filtered videos from the McGrath Instagram. So I was under the impression that this was actually a liquid. So what I was imagining was that the center part was a silicone, and then the liquid kind of came out either like around it or in the center of it, but it's actually like a balm. So it's basically, you know, that Tik Tok hack with the lip balm and the shimmer eyeshadow. That's basically what this is, and it's just so funny to me. So we're gonna try it out, because you know I love my super inexpensive glitter primers, as well as my Ride or Die Fairney Pixie Epoxy. I do not have one right now because I did actually have to reorder a new one because the other one I had was too old. And also I will do like a actual wear test, of course, in another video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So let's get right into some swatches, swatch comparisons, and then these two looks, and then I'll give you some of my initial thoughts at the end of the video. So here's the Huetopian Dream. I did have to layer these a little bit. They're just so translucent. The multi-chrome swatched, absolutely stunning. It's super silky feeling. Here are the 3 special shades from the palette swatched over the Artistry wand. Definitely helps to bring out that sparkle quite a bit. I mean, compared to just like how translucent they are here, definitely a lot better. But look at that multi-chrome down there, so beautiful. Next up, we have a comparison of the gold shades. This shade is from the Divine Rose 2 palette, and this one's from Huetopian Dream. Texture-wise, definitely different. The Huetopian Dream is much like flakier, and they're both like baked, but this one, it just feels like the way it swatches, it's more translucent, and it's got like little flake kick up, while the other one is just like really nice and set in there and baked. What is happening, my lights? Next up, we have the first shades. So this one is from the Divine Rose 2 palette, and this one is from Huetopian Dream. You can see very different, actually. The Divine Rose 2 is much sheerer. Maybe let me try to build it up, actually. But it's got like a really beautiful pink tinge to it, while this one's just like a champagne. These two are from the Divine Rose 2 palette. These two are from Huetopian. These two, while a bit different, they do have pink flecks throughout them. And then these two, obviously, tone-wise, completely different. Last comparisons, we have Huetopian Dream. This is not plum. I feel like it looks a little bit more plum in the viewfinder. And then this is from the Divine Rose 2 palette. Now this is a plum. I believe it's called like Extreme Aubergine or something, but that one's definitely way more plum. Like in real life, this just looks like a warm brown. Top multi-chrome is from the Divine Rose 2 palette, and the bottom one is from the Huetopian Dream. And you can see they're a bit different. And also, I would like to note the texture difference. The one from the Huetopian palette just feels so much slicker, while the one in the Divine Rose 2 is like a baked formula. So it's still shiny, but it feels completely different. So I'm priming with the eyeshadow primer from Natasha Denona, kind of crossing over to another brand. Going in with Secret Eden in the crease. This is definitely a very nice peachy shade. I do wish McGrath would put just a little bit more matte eyeshadows in her palette. Next up, Shockwave. This one is nice and bright. I'm just pretty much blowing that out in my crease. Just taking it all over. Taking Extreme Plum Noir on the outer corner. I do feel like this could have been deeper. And I'm also going to put it in the inner corner. I've never been like the biggest fan per se of her mattes. I definitely feel like her shimmers are her stronger suit. Like, I feel like it's kind of clinging oddly out there. But it's okay, we're going to be smacking a nice shimmer all over the lid anyways, because that's what we're all here for. I'm taking that under my lower lash line. And I'm going to take that lighter pink as well. And just blend it in. I'm gonna blow it out a little bit today. I usually don't really like to blow out my under eye because I do have that crease there, and it gets pretty messy throughout the day, but I'm just going to be wearing this for a couple hours. So let's take the Artistry wand. Gonna pump it out a little bit more. I definitely had to pump it quite a bit when I first got it. And I'm gonna swipe it. I saw that she pats it on when it's matte eyeshadows because it did come off. The mattes did come off. There we go. And I'm just going to use my finger, I think. So I'm going in with Astral Amethyst. Definitely very pretty. I'm actually quite surprised how sheer this shade is when you swatch it. It's just like sparkles with some color. So you definitely, the moment you layer it, the more you can see the magic. And then I'm gonna take Astral Venetian, I think it's pronounced, and pop it right in the center. So shiny. Other eye, putting on the Natasha Denona primer again. I'm going to set this just very gently. I feel like it was sticking down. I'm going to do something a little bit deeper on this side, so I'm going in with that deeper brown. Plum, but honestly, you can just barely see that tone in there. I'm not really sure that I really think of this shade as plum. Putting on more, making sure I get that outer corner. We're gonna pop on this side the darker base multi-chrome, the sister to the extraterrestrial shade. Taking a little bit of skin tone powder just to kind of feather out the edge there. See, like, I just feel like I'm not really impressed by her mattes ever. Like, they just, this is what they do to me. They just kind of stick down, and not the biggest fan of that. Going in with the Artistry wand, and I'm gonna swipe it all over my lid. I did kind of go back and forth a little bit just to see if I can get a little bit more of the product on. Going in with Blitz Extreme, putting that all over the lid. This is such a pretty shade. And this one does have that green shift on the outer edge, but this is really nice. I would say this is a bit shinier than the shade from the Divine Rose 2. I'm gonna go in with my finger and just see. Definitely feel like a finger is even better. Going in with the so-called plum shade under my lash line. Going to take Shockwave and also put that on my lower lash line. Then going in with Bronze Desire and layering that on top. I'm gonna pop in that first Skin Show Nude Ecstasy. It's my inner corner highlight. It's honestly pretty satiny. It's not very shiny. As you can see, I'm gonna actually put it under my brow as well. I do like it under the brow. It's like a just enough brow highlight. So here's a first finished look. Definitely very sparkly. And then here's the second finished look, a little bit grungier. And this is the multi-chrome that shifts to a bright green. So I'm first going to talk about this wand. Let's be honest, if this holds my eyeshadow on my hooded oily lids for 2 days in a row, I don't think this is worth $32. And if you absolutely want to try it, you love Pat McGrath and you want everything Pat McGrath, then of course, by all means, get it and try it out. However, I'm very skeptical because it is more like lip balmy, and it like talks about intensifying shimmers. However, it doesn't really talk about the longevity, so I'm very skeptical, especially because I have hooded oily lids and a lot of things crease on me, sometimes even with glitter primer. So I think that no matter what, I just don't think that 2 grams of product that is like a lip balm is worth it. I definitely will much prefer to stick to my other glitter primers that are like $6, $7, etc. I will do a comparison to the Fahrenheit Pixie Epoxy for sure, but let me know in the comments if you would like to see a compared to like the NYX glitter primer, for example. That is a very, very popular primer to use for sparkly, shimmery eyeshadows of all kinds. Maybe if you can get it like on sale during Black Friday for like 30% off. So let's talk about the palette. You know that I don't really care for the color story. I can definitely see the hues like from the packaging in the color story, but you have to like really read into it and really look at it. I think if you were to put this on the eyes and then put the packaging next to it, like you're not gonna think that what you have on the eyes came from that packaging. I just absolutely love this packaging. I really hope that they end up selling prints of all these packages because they're just absolutely gorgeous, and I would love to just have them framed on my wall. I mean, you absolutely cannot take away the beautiful packaging from Pat McGrath. Definitely just like 20 out of 10 for sure. Now, I was actually pretty surprised on how hard it was to dupe these 3 shades up here. I didn't try duping the rest, but let me know if you would like to see dupes for the others. I will probably post that on my Instagram if enough people are interested. I think really what's unique here is the formulation of these. They are baked. They're not really like flaky Like, they're kind of flaky, but there's just something about it. They're also extremely sheer. I was very, very surprised how sheer this shade is, this purple to blue, because like I know that that's how this formula is. When they showed applying that shade over the wand in a video, it just looked super, super opaque. But even when I used it just now, I would feel like I would have to pack on quite a bit. So I don't really feel like it looks like the way it looks in the pan. I did also put obviously in the center the other shade, but I just feel like even when I put it on over this, I didn't see quite the color payoff that I was expecting. Now onto some of these other shades. I did only use this. This is more like a satin. I don't really like satins. It does have like sparkles throughout it. I don't love it. If you like neutral, soft makeup, everyday, easy, swipe on the lid and go get out the door, then that's definitely a type of shade for you. This one is very, very stunning. Definitely love that one. I'm a little bit surprised how bright this shade is over here, which I really like that. I like that there's at least one brighter shade in here. This shade down here is described as a plum, and I just don't see it. It looks like a warmer brown. It might have like a tinge of plum. I also wish this was deeper, kind of like the shade in the Divine Rose 2 palette. This is a plum, okay? This right here is a plum. And then once again, we have this cream satin beige shade and the gold. I just feel like it's such a cop-out. I understand that everybody is buying all of our palettes, like some makeup collectors and YouTubers. However, it's just so redundant. Like, what if you end up buying one of the palettes and then you decide you really love the color story of the other one, except those two shades? Like, you might not want to pay another $125 just to have two very similar shades again. I just really wish for $125, this would be switched out and this will be its own color story and it'll be different from each of the other palettes. I do remember that the other three original palettes like this have a champagne satin in here. I really did not like that shade in those palettes. I do not have those palettes anymore. So to me, it's just a bit much now having two of these palettes with two very similar shades to each other. It's just too much for me personally. I would say if you're an indie makeup lover and you love duochromes and multichromes, just buy a couple of these other similar shades from indie brands. I don't think by any means you need to go out and run out and buy these, because all these much smaller indie brands have been doing this for years. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this palette. I'm sure there's going to be lots of polarizing opinions, but that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you subscribe. There's so much indie makeup content uploading my channel and much more to come, especially if you love multichromes and sparkly eyeshadows. This is the place for you. So thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you next time.